this. There's a very famous violinist and violin teacher named Carl Flesch. And those of you who have done 3-octave scales and arpeggios and double stops may have seen the Carl Flesch scale system. Now, mine is a very old edition. This is the first edition, and it's kind of maroon and browny colored. The new edition is blue, and it's been edited by the violinist Max Rostall. But Carl Flesch worked with his students through college level, and he would then be very happy when his students would get jobs in professional orchestras around the world. And then they would be in contact with him and they would say, you know, Mr. Flesch, I don't have time to practice my scales anymore. I'm in orchestra rehearsals, 6 or 7 hours a day, and I just have enough time to warm up and to practice my repertoire. And my technique's getting worse. If you think, well, how do I keep myself in shape physically by being active? Well, it's okay, I walk to work, or I walk around the office, or I walk to school. But actually, you're getting out of shape while you're still being physical. An orchestra player a professional player who plays 7 or 8 hours or more a day, getting out of shape? Why does that not make sense? Well, they're playing, but they're only playing the things that technically that their body requires them, that the music requires their body to do. And that may not be everything they need. So that means there are things that are going unnoticed in their technique that need some attention too. So Flesch put his mind to this and he said, well, there's got to be a distilled version of technique warm-ups that can help professional players do exactly what they need to do, is the minimum things they need to do, and then go do the professional work they need to be doing in their job. And so he devised this book he calls Studium, and it's actually available as public domain. It's free and available. Studium, it just means basic exercises. So he addresses these 3 functions in that book. And a lot of different teachers and players talk about this. So the first one is finger dropping and lifting. And so when we talk about our fingers moving, we have 3 joints in our fingers, 1, 2, and 3. The 3 places in my finger that can move, each of those 3 joints. So let's just practice doing this A1, high 2, 3, 4, and practice lifting your 4th finger up very slowly and down. So everybody try this. So you're lifting your 4th finger off the A string and you're putting it back down. And as you do that, imagine there's a laser pointer at the tip of your finger, and it's pointing a light the laser right at the place you want to land. Don't let it point at the ceiling, over your shoulder, or anything. This is really important because what we're doing is we're training our finger to move from this joint. Now, 4th finger is one of the more challenging ones. Let that rest, and now do 3rd finger. Lift from that joint and place it back down. You might find that 3rd finger is a little harder. You might not. 3rd finger shares a tendon with another finger, and so it's a little bit difficult when we ask it to do a job by itself. So we have to train it to be more independent. Again, make sure your laser pointer is pointing at the string. Do 2nd finger, and you can celebrate that. Oh, that feels so nice. Great. 2nd finger is usually pretty easy. As you do this, watch your wrist. Don't let your wrist help. This is not its job. This is only the job of your 2nd finger. Lift your 1st finger. Watch out. This one's a little bit difficult. People often will forget about the laser pointer. So remember the laser pointer. Keep the laser pointing at the string. Check in with your wrist again. Good. So this is called lift and drop. And all it is we're paying attention to where we're moving from. Very, very important. When I say I've taken a week holiday and vacation and I haven't practiced my violin, when I come back, I can feel that my fingers are a little bit confused, even though I was in shape before I left, and I can feel my wrist trying to help. So I'm just really patient for a couple of days while I show my fingers what they need to do. Lift and drop. That's an everyday thing. It's very simple. All right, now let's do another motion. The second motion is moving side to side. So I call this E to G. So let's put all same fingers, same finger pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, with a high 2, on the E string. And now you're going to move your fourth finger from the E without moving anything else to the G. So it's more squunched up on the E, it's elongated to get to the G. And so now, if I think about the laser pointer, it's pointing to the string that I am going to. And I can move more than that one joint. So you see all the joints in my finger moving. Let that rest on the E, do the same thing with 3. Now you might find that's a little harder. That's okay. If you can't get all the way to the G, go to the A. If that's easy, go to the D. If that's easy, go to the G. Second finger then, let third finger and fourth finger rest on the E. This is E to G. Why don't you everybody make sure they're trying this? Okay, good. First finger, same thing. Now, watch out for wrist. Don't let your wrist help. You want your wrist to be soft. And you'll notice my finger goes a little bit diagonal. That's okay. I'm not trying to go directly across. As long as it gets to the G string, it's a bit squarer on the E, it's a bit extended on the G. Okay? Shake your hand out, let that relax. And now put all 4 fingers, same pattern with a high 2 on the G string. And now we're going to go, this is G to E. The other one was E to G, this is G to E. This is lateral motion. Fourth finger from the G over to the E. G to E. G to E. Let that rest on the E. Now do third finger. This one tends to be challenging for people. If you can't lift it high enough to get over the D and the A, that's okay. You have to work on the lifting more. And just go to the string that you can go to. And notice over a few days how you're able to get further and further. Okay, park that on the G, then second finger. And then lastly, first finger. This one can feel a little bit, here's a good view, a little bit strange. Great, give that a shake. What do we have so far? We have lifting and dropping, we have E to G, we have G to E. So the two functions that we've developed so far are the lifting and dropping and the lateral motion, side to side. All right. Now, there is another way to get our fingers to a string side to side, which would be more of a shoulder motion. My elbows moving through the air. That's not a left hand function, that's a left shoulder function that affects our left hand and is important. I address it separately, but we're talking just about the hand right now. Okay, let's do the last one, and this one's a lot of fun. I call it anchor and stretch. And so I anchor one finger and I stretch another. And this one's very important again to watch our wrist, that it's not involved. You know, our poor wrist, we just don't want it to do any work. The only thing it should be doing is being soft and relaxed. All right, so first finger on the A, and you're going to anchor that there. So glue it to the string, and you're going to stretch your second finger as high as you can. So now I'm going to get my other fingers out of the way. My second finger is completely flat and as high as I can without doing anything in my wrist. And I go back. So stretch it, come back. So I've anchored first finger and I'm stretching another finger. Anchor and stretch. Okay, anchor 2, pull back 1. Watch your wrist. You don't want wrist to be involved. Good. Anchor 2, stretch 3 up. Anchor 3, stretch 2 back. Anchor 3, stretch 4 up. Anchor 4, stretch 3 back. That's an important one. Okay, the next two, nothing's anchored. So 1 goes down, 3 goes up. 3 goes down, 1 comes up. So I'm moving my fingers apart. This one is fun and funny because it's not easy, and it tends to be a little bit of a coordination challenge for some students. Nothing's anchored, but your fingers are moving in opposite directions. Now we can do the same thing with 2 and 4. If I get this guy out of the way, 3 is no longer in the way, I go 2 back and 4 up. 4 back, 2 up. And together it looks like this. There's another view of that, and another view of the 1 and 3. Great. So that finger stretching is really, really important. I want to make sure that my students can do that before they get to etude in Suzuki Book 1. Because that's where we get, in Suzuki repertoire, that's where we get the first low second finger. It's also when we would play 2-octave G major scale, on the upper 2 strings, the upper octave, we have a low 2. And we need to be able to pull our second finger back. That's why so often students will get to that point when they play C natural on the A string, and they do. That's your friendly wrist saying he's there to help. He's not there to help. He needs to go away, and we'll learn it a different way. Learn how to do it a different way. Those are the 3 function exercises. So lift and drop, E to G, and G to E, anchor and stretch.